Hi, welcome to this lesson on Statistics, Mixed Exercises Part 1. Let's have a look at question 1. The matric class of a certain high school had to vote for the chairperson of the Representative Council of Learners, or the RCL. The scatter plot below shows the IQ of the 10 learners who received the most votes and the number of votes that they received. So if you look at the scatter plot here on the x-axis, this is going to be the IQ range, so certain values given here on the IQ, and then number of votes is going to be given here on the y-axis. So if we read off the scatter plot, for example, this looks like it's about maybe 99, 100, 101, 102. Yeah, so that looks like 99. So it looks like 1 unit per spacebar. So there is number of votes for the person that had an IQ of 99. Looks like it was just below 10. So maybe 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Or this goes from 5 to 10. So 6, 7, 8. So about 9 votes. And similarly, you can read off someone with an IQ of 100 had about 21 votes, and so on. Okay, and you can count off the dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 learners there. So before the election, the popularity of each of these 10 learners was established, and a popularity score out of 100 was assigned to each of those 10 students. The popularity scores and the number of votes of the same 10 learners who received the most votes are shown in the table below. So of these 10 learners, okay, this is measuring IQ versus number of votes, but now the same people with the IQ, with the number of votes, also received a popularity score. So notice in this table here is telling us a different story than the scatter plot. The scatter plot is talking about your X being your IQ and your Y being the number of votes. But over here, Y is still your number of votes, but those same people with the IQs now, instead of measuring your IQ, they're measuring your popularity score. So notice two different ways to measure those candidates versus their IQ versus their popularity score. Okay, so the first question asks us to calculate the mean number of votes that these 10 learners received. So notice that it's the mean number of votes. Votes is your Y variable. So you're actually looking for Y bar, the mean of your Y. So how do I do that? Well, you could add up these long list of numbers, these 10 numbers, and then divide by 10, or we could do it smart. Okay, so on my calculator, I'm just going to Shift 9, clear everything, have a nice fresh start. I'm going to click Mode, Statistics, and although you are dealing with two variables here, you want the mean of a specific one set of variables, so I'm going to choose one variable. Even though it says X, I'm looking at number of votes, so it's going to be 9, 22, 10, 21, 11, 15, 20, 12, 19, and 16. So 19 and 16. Okay, and you can see I've got 10 data points. So I've always double check that you've entered here correctly, because this is often where a lot of mistakes happen within the calculator. So I'm going to click AC, I'm going to go Shift Stat and choose Variable, and then choose the mean option. So I get 15.6 here. Okay, so again, just be careful, make sure you double check, see that everything is correct. Okay, so if I go back here, Mode, Stat, look at, or actually let's go Shift Stat, look at the data. Okay, so the data points have vanished. Okay, so if I'm just going to put them in again, carefully, 9. I always like to double check, make sure I don't get any different answer. So 9, 22, 10, 21, 11, 15, 20, okay, then it was 12, 19, and 16. Okay, I'm going to click AC, and again I can go Shift, Stat, Variable, Mean. Notice the value changed a little bit. Okay, so I might have maybe input something correctly originally. Okay, so it's going to be 15.5. Alright, so that is the mean number of votes that the 10 learners received. On average, students received about 15.5 votes. Okay, calculate the standard deviation of the number of votes that these 10 learners received. Well, again, I've got that data saved, so I can click Shift 1, Variable, and then choose 3 for my standard deviation. That's going to be 4.59. So sigma is 4.59 to 2 decimal places. Next, they want to ask us, the learners who received fewer votes than 1 standard deviation below the mean were not invited for an interview. So how many learners were invited? Well, first of all, we have our mean value. We worked it out. It was 15.5. And we have our standard deviation value, which we worked out as 4.59. So it says one standard deviation below. So that means y bar minus one sigma value. So that's going to be 15.5. So clear everything, 15.5 minus 4.59, and you get 10.91. So that is the value of one standard deviation below the mean. So now all of those students were not invited if that's how many votes that they got, if they got less than that. So if you go up to your table, that value fails because that is below the 10.91. So that one won't work. 22 is above, 10 is below because 10 is less than 10.91. So that won't work. 21 will work, 11, 15, 20, 12, 19, and 16. So 8 out of the 10 learners were invited because they lie actually above that one standard deviation below the mean. Next, determine the equation of the least squares regression line for the data given in the table. Okay, so here we're going to need to, so I'm going to go shift, clear everything off my calculator so I can start afresh. Mode, stats, and now we're going to choose the regression line 2. So again, I'm going to carefully enter the x values first and then the y values. So 32 equals, then 89 equals 35, 82, 50, 59, 81, 40, 79, and 65. And you can see that is 10 data points. Then, associating that correctly, 9, 22, just be very careful when you're typing this in, making sure you don't skip over any numbers. It happens so often because we try to rush through these opening questions in paper 2 for statistics in mathematics, and that's often where we lose careless marks. Okay, so 11, 15, 20, 12, 19, and 16. Okay, so now that I've got that, I'm going to click AC, and I'm going to go Shift Stats, and before I do that, let's just go here. So y hat is going to be in the form a plus bx, and therefore y hat's going to equal, so what is our a value? So regression a, and I get 1.77 to 2 decimal places, and then my b value, Shift Stats, regression b, 0.22 to 2 decimal places, so plus 0.22x. Okay, so that is the least squares regression lines equation. Lastly, it tells us to predict the number of votes that a learner with a popularity score of 72 will receive. So essentially, when x is equal to 72, that's your popularity score, what will y hat give you? So on my calculator, I can type 72, Shift Stats, regression, and then the y hat, and that gives me 17.92 votes. So that student gets almost 18 votes, we would say there, 17.92 votes, if they had a popularity score of 72. Okay, so this has been question 1 of Mixed Statistics Exercises, part 1. I'll see you in the next one.